I had a couple of viewers that requested I show how to create a color chart similar to the one you see on the screen right now. So they wanted to be able to create a chart with t-shirts or whatever items they wanted and be able to change the colors and have the objects represent the object they're actually selling and have that kind of control and flexibility. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can do this. One simple way you can do it, if you're not familiar with any of the photo editing programs, is you could actually do this in Design Space. So I went out to Google Images and I Googled t-shirt template. And we'll go upload that into Design Space. And this is a basic image. And we'll clean it up and get rid of the white space that's around it. I chose one that was a solid color image because it'll be easier to work with in probably both Design Space and photo editing software I'm going to show you in just a moment, and when we want to change colors and all that kind of stuff. So we'll go ahead and save this, and we'll insert it into a Design Space project, and we'll adjust the size of it appropriately. Next, we'll highlight the layer, we'll unflatten it, and then we'll click the little printer icon and change it to cut, and then we'll apply the color that we want. Next, we'll just duplicate it, and we'll continue duplicating the object and making all the colors that we want. Of course, we can add text to label them, and for proper alignment, we can turn on our grid and place the items. And we can use our arrow keys to move the objects around to ensure that they're aligned properly by the grid. You can also click an object and use the edit panel with the XY coordinates for proper alignment as well. And now we'll turn off our grid and we'll run the window snipping tool to capture our image and save it. In this case, I'll use a JPEG file. And now when I open that file, you'll see the images that I created. So that's a basic kind of a crude way to create those images. And I should point out that when you change the colors of the layers, you don't have to go by the preset basic colors. You can adjust the colors and the tint down here as well. Now the next bit that I want to show you is using Pixlr.com. You could also do this with Photoshop with a lot more control and flexibility if you are familiar with Photoshop. For those who are not, Pixlr is a little bit easier to use, and it's a free application that you can use in a web browser. It's also available on the iPad and Android tablets and phones as well. You can create a free account, and as you can see, I'm already logged in, and I'll launch the web app. Next, I'll create a new image, and I'll choose the preset of 1024 by 768 for the resolution. This is generally going to be for screen viewing only, so if you want to use it on a website, Facebook, or by email, this should be fine. If you want to be able to print this and you want a higher resolution image, you probably want to move this up to maybe a 3,000 or 4,000 pixel image so that when you print it, it's a little bit sharper and crisp. However, 1024 to 768 will print. It may just be a little fuzzy. So now with our blank canvas created, I'm going to open the t-shirt template file I showed you in the first part of the video. And as we look at this, you'll see by the size of the canvas we created and the size of the template file that our template file is actually much larger than our canvas that we're going to be working on. So we're going to resize that in a moment, but first we're going to clean this up and get rid of the white space that's around the t-shirt. And in order to make changes to it, we have to unlock layer. So if we double click that lock, it will become enabled so we can show and hide the layer. I'll use the magic wand tool, and I'll turn my tolerance up pretty high since this is a nice black and white sharp edge that we want to deal with. And we'll turn off anti-alias, and we'll leave contiguous checks. It doesn't really matter in this case. And when we click with our magic wand, another reason I like to drag this out so you can see the edges, you'll see that we have a little dotted line around that, around the shirt, which means when I hit my delete key, that's going to delete that space that's highlighted. We can get rid of those little dotted lines by just clicking out here with the magic wand tool. And now we want to resize this, so we're going to go to Image and Image Size. And we're going to leave Constrain Proportions checked. That way our width and height proportions remain consistent. And I'm going to change this to 200 pixels. Then use my Square Selection tool to highlight the image. And then I'll copy and paste that image into our canvas. Now, for this to look a little more professional, one of the things we can do is add a shadow and a border to it. So to see what we're doing and make it a little easier, I'm going to change the color of the item to red by clicking the color palette down here, and then you select the color and then click OK. We'll use the paint bucket tool to color that shirt red. Now up here in the navigator, we'll zoom in. Then I can drag this little square and pan up to my shirt. As you can see, it has a little bit of a rough edge. So with that layer selected, we'll click on the Layer Styles button. We'll give this an inner and an outer glow. For the outer glow, we'll turn the opacity down. We'll turn the hardness down. And we'll turn the size up. And we'll use maybe a nice dark gray color. And for the inner glow, we want the opacity to be all the way up. We want the hardness all the way up. And then we can use maybe that same dark gray color. So what we have done is created kind of a shadow all the way around the item, as well as a nice clean border around the edges. And we'll zoom back out again. And now we can simply right click and duplicate our item as many times as we want. And when you're working with these items, make sure you're selected on the proper layer. For example, this is the one that's in the middle, and then this is the one on the right, and this is the one on the left. So I'm going to leave the first one red. I'm going to work with the second one. I'm going to click my color palette, and I'm going to change it to yellow by using my paint bucket tool. Now I'm going to go to the one on the right, and I'll change it to blue, again by using my paint bucket tool. And of course, we can add text and label our items. Just like in Design Space, we can use our arrows to position our items and line them up. Now I'll go to File, Save. I'll save this as a JPEG, and I'm going to turn my quality up to 100%. And when I open that image, we'll see our chart similar as we created in Design Space, only it looks a little more professional and a little bit cleaner, and you have a little bit more flexibility. One of the things to consider when saving is you should probably save an original copy as a Pixlr layered image. This allows you to open the image at a later time and make changes to it with layers, similar to Design Space. When you bring in a JPEG or a PNG, that's a flattened image and you can't make changes to it as easy. But if you save it as a Pixlr layered image, it will allow you to make these changes at a later time. Hopefully my video has been helpful to you. If it has been, please subscribe to my channel, and by all means, please share my videos.